Everybody, I'm Lisa Ascolese, the Inventors, CEO and founder of Inventing A to Z. And here we are on my Inventors podcast. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have this guest on my show. She has been a longtime friend, a part of AOWIE member, just a connector, one of the most magnificent people I know. Welcome, Danielle Woolley.
Thank you.
I'm going to say, wait, your Jersey podcasts, podcasts now, but you do a lot of other things. Hi, Danielle.
How you doing? I'm excited we finally made this happen. Even though we've done this a couple of times before, but it's so crazy how our schedules get, which is a good thing. Productivity is good.
Yeah, well, we recorded, oh my gosh, I don't know how many years ago it is now, but you're always doing something new and innovative, and that's what I love about you. Most importantly, you are a connector, and you connect people, and we love connecting you.
Thank you.
Danielle, so let's tell people about who you are and what you're doing, and most excited for you right now about Jersey, your podcast, the podcast that you're doing.
The Jersey Podcats podcast. And yes, I can say it 10 times fast. People have challenged me.
I can't.
So thank you. So like you mentioned, I'm a connector. And for a while, I didn't even know what I was. I feel like we might have talked about this in an older episode, but like when people say, oh, you're a networker. And there's just something about that word. I'm like, oh, what? That sounds like the person that goes around and shoves business cards in people's face. I'm not that. I like to talk to people. I get to learn about what they're doing. I like to take the ideas that they have and help connect them to somebody else that can help them do that idea. Hint, Lisa, most of the time. And I just love people. I love entrepreneurship. I love, business stuff, and I love cats. So the fast, long, medium version of what I'll tell you guys about how I wound up with a podcast like this is I was at the Association of Women Inventors and Entrepreneurs conference. And when people were going around and introducing themselves and very excitedly talking about all their entrepreneurship things they were working on and all the businesses and the cool inventions that they had, I was like in a spot, and I remember specifically because it was November, and I call it my no-vember. And you guys, you'll love that, right? No, when people ask me to do something in November, nope.
I love it.
So everyone else is being really excited talking about their businesses. I was just burnt out with clients. I already had a full roster on that side. I've been looking for something more creative to do. And I had been spending a lot of time working in cat rescue and doing fundraising and marketing for nonprofits. So when it came my turn to introduce myself to people, I'm like, you guys are all amazing. I love everything you're doing, but I don't want to talk about business. But if you want to talk about health or cat rescue, like that's cool with me. And I kind of said it jokingly. And that's when I met another one of the attendees from the conference, Elizabeth Gearhart, who said, I'm supposed to meet someone who likes cats today because me and my husband were just saying in the car we need to start a podcast. And I was like, no, because it was November, right? So I explained to her, like, that sounds exciting. I just have a lot on my plate right now, maybe in the future. And you know what she said to me? She said, well, I think we were meant to meet today. And I think the reason you're having to say no to everybody else is so that you could say yes to this and we're starting a podcast.
That's Elizabeth. That's Elizabeth Gearhart.
She really makes stuff happen. She really does. And she pushes me more than I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. She's like, yes, we can. Let's do it right now. Come on. And we had an LLC and a business started together, and we had just met, sharing bank account information, signing agreements.
Well, you know what? It's a trusting environment. Well, I mean, they've been around for a long time. They've been at every single conference. I don't know if you've ever connected with them before.
No, and that's the funny thing. I had been so busy running around or volunteering or dancing. If you go to the conference, I demand that you dance.
Yeah, but they've been at every conference. And the people who come and we become a family, all of us. But I have to say, congratulations to you on this podcast.
Thank you.
And I'm amazed at how quickly everything took off. So not only did you meet Elizabeth that day at our AOWIE conference, you guys, you talked about it, you connected, and you made things happen.
We did.
That's what this is all about too, this Inventors podcast, and this is what you're doing as an entrepreneur. You speak it into existence and you make it happen.
Yeah. And I think it, just listening, because I listen to your podcast, I prefer on YouTube, which is funny because I yell at all of our listeners, please follow on Apple Podcasts, the Jersey Podcats podcast, look it up, make sure you follow and subscribe. But I personally like doing YouTube because I like seeing the interaction of the people talking. And for people, I'm from Jersey, you see my hands moving all over the place.
Yes.
But what I liked about it is we focused on, this is definitely going to be a business. We knew that from day one. We didn't quite know how yet because we had a lot of, ideas. We just weren't sure what we were going to do. And it wasn't until we started doing stuff where we were like, we're going to do this as the monetization piece. And we're like, that seems overwhelming. Let's try this instead. And then we just started talking to people. We had a wait list, like incredible people just wanting to talk about their cats.
Isn't there are cat people out there. There are. It's a thing. It really is a thing. And I've learned that over the past several years, especially knowing Elizabeth, and I've been to her house several times with her cats and all that. And everybody I know with their cat, who have cats, are big time into the cats.
Yeah.
I like cats. I do like cats, and I've had cats. We have dogs. Well, I have grand dogs now.
I would say your grand dogs, yeah.
I have grand dogs now, but we always had dogs growing up, and sprinkles of cats periodically.
Yeah, and we say that we love all animals, but if we had to choose to only live with one animal for the rest of our lives, it would be a cat.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So
and
tell me what the cat thing is.
So for me, I feel like sometimes I am a cat too. And it's funny because we joked around the fact that we're these professional, like really smart. And then I could say that because I'm very confident in myself, like very connected, networking, businessy entrepreneur people, but like we were always kind of embarrassed to talk about the cat side of things. And if I hadn't introduced myself as I'm just over business right now, but if you want to talk about cats, I'm your girl, we wouldn't have met so many cool people. So the whole idea of the show originated when we were connecting over her cat that was sick. And a lot of the cat stuff we were looking into was like way too crazy cat for us. So like we were trying to find like that in between of like, we love cats, but we're also somewhat normal people, even though I know I'm a little eccentric. And
that's what makes you Danielle, and the best.
Thank you.
The best.
Thank you. So we were just trying to see like, how can we do this? So we'd started with, this is the issue that her cat Max is having. Have any of our listeners heard this? Did you struggle with something similar? Who do you connect with to get help in these areas? Because there's really not much. I mean, you have family members you can connect with or support groups for that. But when your animals are sick, it's like, okay, who do I talk to? Like, who cares about my cat that's sick? Like, we care, we listen. We may not know the answer, but because I love connecting people and I love learning things, I just found people who somewhat knew the answer, who could connect me to someone that knew the answer. And spoiler, her cat's doing much better now, but we brought people through the journey of what was happening with him on there, while giving people the opportunity to talk about their own cats and like what's cool about them, what tips do they have, and then something that they're excited about. So that's what brings the connective piece back in. And through that, I would say like we've gotten some really cool guests where we purposely don't say, so tell me, what do you do? We just say, tell us about your cats. Why do you love cats? Why are you on the show? Then through conversation, we've had music producer for like very famous artists. And like while we're talking, I'm like, wait, what did he just say he does? That's so cool. He just talked about his cat for 20 minutes and I had to cut him off. That's how much he loves these animals. And then just bringing in stories that people can relate to, like, what are you doing out in the community? What's a cool business that you're doing? My glasses that I'm wearing right now. I'm talking very fast because I'm so excited to talk about this stuff.
I love this. Listen, I can keep up. You know how fast I talk too.
Yeah.
This is our connection.
Yeah. So, but even like my glasses, I was struggling with issues with my eyes because I have some autoimmune issues. And through sharing that on the podcast, someone was like, oh, you should talk to so-and-so. They have a business that is for glasses and their profits go to help animals. I'm like, well, you suckered me in. I'm doing it.
Way.
So and that's how I wound up with these.
I love your glasses.
Thank you. Specs Eyewear.
What is it called?
It's called Specs Eyewear, SPEX.
I love them. I love them. No, I love this. I love what you're doing, Danielle. This is so your forte. This is so like right up your alley, cat.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's a good one. I have to write that one down. Yeah. And it's all changing as we're going too. And actually Petsy apps. I know you guys are familiar with Petsy app too. If you've been listening to Lisa, like we just said like, hey, I'm sure you guys can talk about cats. Are you in? And they did. So it's just showing all these people cool things, whether it's technology or products or services or just people sharing their love of cats or rescue.
I have to tell you something. It's so nice to be able to step away from business because, like you said in the very beginning, we are on business overload. We really
Mhm.
are. I mean, and sometimes I'm always talking about business because I love what I do. I love what I do. And very recently, somebody said to me, it was a Sunday afternoon, and I won't say the person's name, but she was like, "Can we just talk about something else?" I was like,
I
"Oh,
could feel
well,
that. Yep.
let's talk about the beach, or let's talk about Olivia, or let's just talk about life and us, and like you said, and
Mhm.
health, and the things outside of our businesses that make us super happy." So I
Mhm.
completely relate to this. Completely relate to your November. Your November. I love it because you have to shut down. And for the
Mhm.
holiday, I literally did. I shut down. Well, my shutting down is going to the beach and writing down things,
Yeah.
writing and doing, writing things that excite me. But my business does excite me, and helping other people excites me. And having these conversations with people like you, Danielle, excite me.
Me
Just
too.
so, I mean, I love Jersey podcast cats. I can't say it 10
I,
times.
I'll say it for you. The Jersey Podcats podcast with Danielle Woolley and Elizabeth Gearhart.
So how do they find you, Danielle?
So you can connect with us. We do have Instagram, the Jersey Podcats. We have a website, the Jersey Podcats, and also on YouTube, we're the Jersey Podcats. We have a community on Facebook where we're trying to help build community around people's love for cats too. And it's called the Jersey Podcats Community, or on your favorite podcast player. So if you're on Apple, Google, all of them, and it's the Jersey Podcats. But I will tell you that Google tries to help you and autocorrect you and says, I think you mean to search for the Jersey Podcast. And you have to say, no, I don't. I mean to search for the Jersey Podcats podcast. So that's why I added that extra podcast at the end.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome. And I can't wait for you to talk about this at our AOWIE conference.
Yeah. Can I talk about that yet?
Yes, you can.
So I love the conference, and we really appreciate the community that's built around it. So sometimes people hear the word conference and they're like, ugh, do we still have to do these? Like, is that still a thing? And this is not just a conference. It's an opportunity for people to come together and connect, and you can be your true authentic self, be excited about your business, but be excited about other things. There are speakers. You could do a pitch competition if you've got something that you've been thinking about. I think you call it from napkin to fruition, right?
From a
See,
napkin.
I listen. I
I
listen.
love you, Danielle.
And we get to dance and listen to really great music.
So it's an event. It's
Mm-hmm.
a miraculous event
Yeah.
where people come together and connect. And I think it's just in a divine space. Maybe we'll call it that instead of a conference. Maybe it's going to be a divine event moving
Love it.
forward from now on, right?
Well, I'm there.
Yeah, all right. Danielle, you are amazing. You're amazing. I love having you here, and I can't wait to see you in September or before that, right? Before the conference. And again, share, but you have a Facebook page, which is also the podcast thing.
Yep. The
Same
Jersey
thing? It's
Podcats. You
all
can
the
find
same
that
thing, no
everywhere.
matter where
Mhm.
you go.
Yep.
You're brilliant.
I try.
I love you. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you. And let's do hugs, and let's do a podcast dance it out.
And actually, if you're watching on YouTube, there's actually a cat sleeping behind me right now.
Is it really? I love it.
That's funny. I didn't even see him there. That
Oh,
side.
that's funny.
So, but thank you for having me.
Oh,
This is great.
cute. My pleasure, honey. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.
Mwah. Mwah. Mwah.